Okay, this is a J-arm I'm finishing up. The one I've been doing plug chops on, and I need to do a needle adjustment on it. I haven't done a video on needles or how to remove the slides from the cables, so there's no time like the present. So let's go ahead and get this done real fast. Yours may have brackets here that lock the top on. If they do, it'll just be a Phillips screw. Just remove it and take that bracket off and set it aside. Then you can screw your carb top right off. The slide will pull right out, and then just hang it over your pipe. Now, when you put your slides back in, this dot right here they both need to face the right side of the bike. They both need to be able to be seen in these carb windows. Both windows are on the right side of the carbs. Also, you can tell the slide is in right as long as you have this crescent shape facing the back, facing the filters. Okay, so to take these off, there's nothing to it. You're just going to take, widen this shot up a little bit here. Alright, you're just going to take the spring and bunch it up in the cap. Hold it with your thumb like that, and then turn this upside down. Give it a shake, and that little retainer will come out there. See, there's a retainer. And then hold on to the spring in this top here, because this top, if it hangs down too far, it'll just slide off the cable. Okay, so I'm going to take this over to the bench. Alright, this is the left carb. Same deal. There went that slide cap. Pull this one right out. Same deal. Hang it over the pipe. Okay, then we'll just do the same thing with it. Make sure I'm working in front of the camera here. Take the spring, just bunch it up to the top of the cap, and then pinch the cable to hold the spring there. Turn it upside down. So a little retainer will come out like that, and then hold your spring. Yep, see, the cap came off. So you can just set that aside. All right, let's go to the bench. All right, so here we are at the bench. To remove the needles from the slides, there's going to be 2 Phillips screws in there holding the retainer in. So you're just going to take those out. And then out comes your needle and the retainer. So right now, our needle position is set stock. That's third from the top or the middle groove. The further down you bring your clip, the higher the needle raises. The higher the needle raises, it pretty much just gives it a head start, if you will. When you touch the throttle, the needle already starts out higher in the main jet, so it doesn't have to lift as far to deliver the same amount of fuel it would if it was lower in the main jet, if your clip was higher. If that makes any sense. I'm going to do a little video on how carbs work here pretty soon. So for now, what we're going to do, our mid-range was a little fat, so what we're going to do is we need to bring the needle on later. So we're going to drop the needle down by raising the clip 1 notch. The way we do that is I just grab the clip with a pair of needle nose. The nose of mine is really worn out, so I'm using the side. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to switch hands now. Remove it. I also have bad eyes, so I'm going to use this to see. And we're going to put it on the second clip, or second groove rather, just like that. Oh, that's first. that second groove. Yep, there we go. Okay, so now we have it on the second groove. Now we're going to do the other one the same way. We'll take it out of our slide. Everything's out. Alright. Alright, so we're going to remove it like so. And then go to the second groove just like that. And that's all there is to it. Now we put it back together. Alright, here we go to put it back together. It's nothing, no big deal. These slides are clean. I know they're clean. I just went through the carbs a few days ago before I built the engine. I kept everything clean here, so we're good to go. Let's see. Hopefully I can keep you on the viewfinder, because I'm working in front of the camera so I can't see. So to put them back together, you're going to take your needle, drop it right back in. Okay. Now, hold up. Sorry. Okay. So then you're going to put your retainer back in. With this large hole right here, that's there for a reason. It needs to line up with this opening here. So when you put it back in, it has to go in just like that. Just like that there. The purpose for that is, it's like a air bleed off hole. What happens is, if you have it turned the other way, like this, with the hole blocked off, it'll work fine. But your throttle could be more stiff, harder to press, and it could also hang on you wide open. What happens is, if you put it in there backwards and you seal that hole off, it starts to act kind of as an air compressor, if you will. When the slide travels up right away real fast, when you yoke it hard, the air in there has nowhere to go. So this is like an air bleed off hole, allows the air to pass through. If you were to get it wide open, and say your seal on top of the cap was leaking very, very little, and it allowed the air to seep past, then you let go of it, well then it's drawing a vacuum in there when you try to let go of it, because it can't pull the air back in to drop the slide. So that's the purpose for that hole anyway. So just make sure that that's lined up. Okay, so we'll just tighten our screws back up. You don't have to be super, super tight, because you sure don't want to get them strip the heads out, then you can't get them out next time. Okay, our next slide, verify that the clip is right. Second clip for the top, drop it in, drop in your retainer, holes lining up like that. Tighten these screws up too. That's it. Slides are ready to go. Now we go put them back in. Alright, now we put them back on. So be sure you got the right slide on this side when you get ready to put it in. The slide here, this is your left one. Got the curve on the back. This is the slot for your idle screw. This is the dot that lines up with your sync window. So it'll go in this way on that carburetor over there, but it's not going to go this way on this carb. So you can get them swapped left to right, but you can't really get them backwards, if you will. So grab your cable. If your top came off, put that back on. Your carb cap. Okay. Tricky part is your spring and working around the camera. Okay, that's it. You just take that spring, compress it, hold it down there. I usually hold it with my thumb or one of my fingers. And then your slide. Keep your little retainer handy. Set it up on top of your plastic as long as it's clean. Okay, now this cable just goes down and it hooks. It hooks in there just like that. Once it's in there, it's not going anywhere once that retainer is in place, but that's how it hooks. Can y'all see there? Okay, so you're gonna put this in like that, and usually I'll take my index finger and I'll kind of hang it on the needle like that and hang that cable over to the side, and then you can drop this retainer right in, and it goes in just like that. That's it. Take your spring, release it, let it go back down your slide. That's all there is to that. That slide's ready to go back in. And remember, when you put it back in, you have a lot of things telling you which way the slide goes. This tells you the idle screw needs to be on this side, so that tells you it's the left, it goes in the left body. The crescent tells you it has to face back, so that tells you which way it goes in the carb. And then you also have, again, this dot that faces right. So if you put it in backwards, it just, you really weren't paying attention. But we all do it. I'm not saying it's, you know, it's a mistake for, you're a dummy if you do it. I've done it before too. Everybody has. And if they say they haven't, they're lying. Okay, let's do the other side. Okay, right side, here we go. Set everything down. What I usually do is set this little retainer right on top of the clutch cover, as long as it's clean. Usually when I do any work on any bike, I wash it first, just so that no dust falls into anything or dirt falls into anything I don't want it. Oh, it is less hassle, less trouble. Okay, so we're gonna take our cap and just put it. Good Lord, did y'all hear that? I think part of my oak tree fell on my shop. Okay, so our spring. Let me get a better shot here. Just start out just like this and just push it down as flat and as straight as you can, like that, and then grab a hold of it just like that. These springs can be a pain in the butt, especially if you've never done it before, and I'll show y'all a trick if you can't manage to get it. Okay, so then this one here, this slide is going to hang in the same way, just like that. Hang your cable off to the side, and then your retainer goes in. It's pretty easy to see which way it goes in, just like that. Okay, release it, put your spring back in, and that's it, guys. Okay, let's let me move back, and I'm going to put these back in the carbs. Okay, here we go. So which way does this slide go? Yep. Idle screw here, there's your carb sync dot, and here is the crescent that faces back. So this is definitely the right slide. So we'll just take it and drop it in. Good and tight, and then if you had a bracket on there, you can put your bracket back on. Alright, here we go with our left one. We know this is our left because of our idle screw slot. It curved towards the back, and this dot here is going to face right, just like that. If you put them in the wrong carb, yeah, you'll get it to start, but it won't idle unless you have it idling really, really high. It'll flood out. It won't flood per se, like run fuel out, but it'll just run really rich, because what happens is that slide closes off the throat, so you're essentially just choking it out with your hand is what you're doing. Sometimes these slides don't want to drop in, like they just dead stop. What it is, it's the needle. It's just not dropping into the main. Just kind of give it a little wiggle, readjust it, and then try again. There, see, it went right in. Just doing the finishing things on it before he comes to get it. Okay. Good and tight. Alright. Alright, we'll go ahead and start it up now, and you got the slides in right and everything. There shouldn't be no reason it shouldn't start right up first kick.